It's Movie Time is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning It's Movie Time is produced by John DeSando. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando.
I'm Wayne Miller.
This is It's Movie Time.
It's movie time.
And what is that? For our radio audience, we've got some phallic symbols sitting here.
And not to be confused with my coffee. Since we're talking about a lighthouse today.
Oh, the light between the oceans?
Yes. And I think this is, it's symbolic. And this is a little symbol. But I think that light between oceans.
Oh, let's
notice it was not light between the oceans, but oceans. And we're talking about here, this whole movie is divided into two halves. And I think the little girl, little Lucy Grace, is the light between
divergent
oceans.
My butt has been thinking about it.
And not just these two families in conflict, but I'm thinking also about the oceans of choices. Do you make what choices that you make that have a huge influence?
The name of the lighthouse is Janus Rock.
Yes.
And Janus, as in January, is the two-faced symbol.
Yes.
Looking two ways. So I think you're absolutely right. Now, for the audience whom we've left behind,
completely, but that's okay.
The name of the film is Light Between
Oceans. Yes.
And it stars Michael Fassbender.
Yes.
Probably the premier actor of our time now.
Yes, very good.
And just equally as good, Alicia Vikander.
Yes, a Swedish girl who can pull off any type of role, like she did the Russian. That one, I started thinking back, movies that I've seen her in, and the one that I haven't seen, that she won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, was the Danish Girl.
The girl, and then she first started in The Girl
with a pearl earring, I believe. No. She was in
Girl with the I'm forgetting now. The whole girl series, wasn't she in that? Didn't she play? No,
I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyhow,
how about the where she plays the robot?
Yes. Ex
Machina.
Oh,
yes.
My goodness.
Yeah, excellent.
And I thought she was superb. That's when I really noticed her. But also, she was the saving grace in that one movie that we reviewed months ago, The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yes.
And she could pull off so many different roles. And here, she's totally believable. As, I think, Australian or from New Zealand or whatever. And
look at there. Fassbender plays a lighthouse keeper.
Yes.
And he's there by himself. Fortunately, on the way to his lighthouse, he gets to check her out.
Yes.
Eventually, they marry.
Yeah. And not to give it away for the viewing audience, because there's a lot of interesting twists and ironic circumstances, coincidences that come up in this. That to me, that was the one thing that maybe just didn't ring so true, because there were some coincidences there, of course, that propelled the plot forward.
That's a good point.
But that were maybe stretched the imagination.
Look, this is Nicholas Sparks land without being Nicholas Sparks. It is more, I'm trying to think of, it's more Thomas Hardy.
Yes.
Less Sparks.
Yes, almost. Of the dark.
Yeah, you're right.
You could almost picture the moors in the British Isles, or those little Channel Islands with maybe lighthouses. But this is what I really liked about the movie too, that everything rang so true when it came to the production design, the scenery, the costumes.
Look, it's beautiful. It's Western Australia. It's off Tasmania or somewhere like that.
Yes, I think
it's a lonely lighthouse.
Yes.
Beautiful waves, some helicopter shots, although I understand they didn't really do a full shot until about halfway through the film.
Oh, I
to
didn't
give it some kind of heightened symbolic significance.
Of how desolate and how isolated they were.
Initially, you know, he's there with the town. He goes out there. Things are looking good. They renew his being the manager of that place. He gets married. Things are on the upswing.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to having babies, that's when the plot really thickens and gets, I think, into some of the things you talk about, your coincidences.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're ruining anything for anybody, because the trailer, everything will tell you.
Yeah.
Look at, they, like Moses, they find this baby.
You look for a little dinghy.
Right in a dinghy. You know, please, you must accept this, because the plot does not work unless they find the baby and this dinghy coming in to them.
Yeah.
And everything goes from there. And in fact, it's nothing too ingenious about the plot, but I'm picking off what you were saying and saying there are some choices, moral choices they make, that I would be hard pressed about if they happen to me. That's where the realism of this comes through.
Really, what would you do
Right.
for the love, for the person you really love?
Yep.
And it's that choice between doing the right legal thing,
Right.
as opposed to maybe the moral thing to do.
What and I like about it, and we know, everybody knows, well, we know Fassbender and Vikander are lovers.
Yes, in real life. Yeah, they met on the set.
And I was telling you, or saying to you after we saw it, is there something there that is better because they are lovers? Because I thought, particularly she responded so well in that there was a connection between those two actors that went beyond clearly their high class act.
Yes. Well, and you notice a lot of very extreme close-ups of their faces.
Oh, a lot of them.
A lot.
Maybe too many.
And
maybe too many tears.
But the one thing I liked about her in this role is that she was so, you could believe it. She was so natural, and she had some quirks about her, and this character did, that I thought only an actress of her caliber could pull some of that off.
Yeah, but I do think too many close-ups and too many tears. Yeah, and even for him.
Well, but I tell you, some of the what was both tear-jerking but also terrifying, that the miscarriages she has.
Yeah.
You could almost feel her pain with this.
Yeah, she would. Very, very good job.
But one thing I want to kind of bring up, we talk about making these moral, ethical, legal choices and everything.
Yes.
I think the time period of this movie, and this is one thing that I found understated, but appropriately so. It takes place right after World War I. He's a veteran of the Western Front, probably one of the few survivors, because it turned out bodies. Like, she lost her two brothers during the war.
And that binds them together somehow.
Yes, and especially because he wanted to be by himself at a lonely place to get over his 4 years of horror in the war. But some low-key type of things that played off of this early in the movie when he's getting off the train. And there you see some people. They really don't, show it or make a big point
They
about it.
do come into the frame.
One-legged on crutches,
Right.
amputees,
Yes.
and things that that they had suffered during the war. And I like that. And I think that really played into that, why he was so concerned, because early on, after these miscarriages, and they find this baby and she wants to keep it and raise it, he wanted to report it.
Yeah.
But he finally said, okay, well, then years pass, and the little girl's now, like, what would you say, 4 or 5 years
she's
old,
4.
toddling around.
An amazing actress.
Oh God, the little girl.
Lucy Grace. She plays Lucy Grace, and her as the older girl, the 4-year-old girl, she's Florence Clary.
Yes.
And I think she's. I exclaimed to you afterwards,
Yes.
how do they get a kid 4 years old to act like this?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And very good from the expressing joy, but also terror of being wrenched out of her family.
Picking up on what you're saying about this, the World War I motif, I agree with you, and they brought it in lightly later on when he talks about taking another life.
Yes.
And this, of course, is being figurative, but in effect, he is taking a life from a mother.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, how appropriate. He's had enough of this.
Yeah.
It really plays on his conscience.
But also, what I think adds to this motif is that the little girl's birth father was a German.
Yes. Oh.
And the prejudice against Germans in this Australian little town that they're in, and that's why he kind of runs off with the baby or whatever, because you have to really listen very carefully to pick up some of the dialogue that explains, like, how did this dead body they run across of this man and this little live baby, how did they wind up in this thingy to begin with?
Yeah.
And you find out how that he runs to get away from these Australians.
And it comes back again when Fassbender, playing Tom, has to face the authorities, and they're going to bring back this idea of German hatred.
Yes.
And
so
why
he did this.
Right.
And
why
they
right.
the charge of
So they're
murder.
weaving it in together. They're doing a great. It's certainly melodramatic in many parts, but I am buoyed up by the fact that you can make a film like this and not have too much tear jerking.
Yes. Yeah. And I think the power of the performances, and even some of the supporting characters, like Lucia's characters, mom and dad, excellent characters.
Yeah.
The old boat captain.
Well, a couple of Aussie actors.
Brian Brown, excellent job as the grandfather of the little girl. Did a great job, and
Jack.
But also the actress Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, Rachel.
Yes, that plays the birth mother.
Yes,
of the
she
little
plays
girl.
Hannah.
And oh my goodness, she does an excellent job.
Very
too,
restrained.
And you can tell. I mean, that the dilemma that she's in, with getting this little girl.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
anyhow.
we've certainly exposed more plot than we should have, but it's very difficult not to because it is a plot-driven story. Agreeing with you about the acting, I'm not sure that the characters are fleshed out enough for me. But after all, it's only a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And what can I demand? Maybe I just wanted more.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Wayne Miller, the film is Light Between Oceans.
I'm going to give it an A-.
Wonderful.
I was, even though it was 2+ hours, I did not get bored. And this is a movie that some people who's really wants action and adventure or whatever could get bored. But I tell you, I was taken in with the characters and the setting and the motifs and themes.
And I'm behind you with a B+, which is a really great grade for me. And I agree with you. I totally enjoyed it. I thought there was a little bit too much melodrama and tear-jerking for me. But anyway, make sure you say it right. Light Between Oceans.
And we should light the little light. Let's,